Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys a video on the best meta classes at the moment after the changes to Warzone yesterday on May the 7th. If you haven't seen my update video covering everything that was changed and tweaked in that update, that is yesterday's video, so feel free to go back and watch that one after you've seen this video here. It will be linked on my end screen. But basically we've had a few changes to quite a lot of the attachments, a lot of the ways that the meta guns worked for the start of Season 3, so we've seen a big shift around there. And then we're going to go through some of the best classes that you guys can use at the moment to stay on top of the meta, or stay on top of at least what the meta could be going forward. Now, if you are new to the channel, before we jump into this video, please do go down below and press that subscribe button. Around 98% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so I would really appreciate if you could help me out. Drop a subscribe down below. We are pushing for 1.5k subs, so it'd be great to have you as part of the channel community here. And if you do go on to enjoy this video, don't forget to drop a like button down below as well, as it really does help me and the video out tremendously. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So with the changes yesterday to the strafe speed and to a lot of the gun's movement speed in general while ADS firing, it means that a lot more guns have been brought in line, and there's a lot more potential for some of guns to be a lot more powerful than they were before. And some of the better guns, like the Farah for example, that has now come right down the list. It's still very, very viable, but it's not by long and away OP, which is quite nice. They've sort of done a tuning system rather than a modification system, which I quite like. It means they've listened to the community more, because they've not dirt piled some guns that were good before. They've now made them kind of in line with the rest of the guns, which just underneath that. So it gives a whole meta option of tons of guns to use. Basically every gun at the moment is viable. There's some that are slightly better, and we're going to go over those options today, but pretty much you can use most of the weapons that you would have been using anyway, or you can use pretty much any gun that you'd like to. For example, in the SMGs, you've obviously got things like the LC10 and the Bullfrog, which are good for certain reasons, which I'll go over in just a moment. But you can use the MP5, you can use the MP7, you can use the AS Val, you can use kind of whatever gun you want to use, basically going off personal preference and playstyle, and that is a really nice place for the meta to be at. These are going to go over some of like the best classes with the lowest TT kills, or kind of like the most versatility on the Warzone map, so that you guys are kind of ahead of the game with it. But there is going to be a ton of options, and not all of the classes that I cover here today are the exclusive ones. There is tons and tons of options that you can use, so there may well be a part 2 to this that covers more long range weapons, because today is going to be focused on kind of the short range meta and the close quarters guns that you could be using, because there was a ton of disparity with the ARs being mainly a double AR setup before this. So we've now moved on from that a little bit. I will make one again, like I say, just updating the long range stuff, because there has been changes to the FFAR, the Farah, the AMAX, all that good stuff. So there is a few changes that we need to go over, but overall fairly similar, and basically you can still use any of those guns for the time being. There's not one that's shining above by far and away, but there has been an update to the snipers as well, so I'm just going to give it a day just to see and test out the snipers for myself and just see whether they're kind of viable as well. So let's jump into this video here. One of the first guns that you're going to want to use is the Bullfrog. Now the Bullfrog's TTK is very reliable. It does require more accuracy now, so the headshots are what gives it a very, very good TTK. If you're not hitting a lot of headshots, it's not going to be any better than any other gun. This is why it's more skill gap specific now, so you will know where your skill lies. If you're going to be in very, very close range gunfights, you're going to be able to hit a lot more headshots. This is a weapon for you. The 0 to 10 and 10 to 15 meter damage on this is far and above beyond most of the other SMGs if you're throwing in those headshots and chest shots. If you're not doing that, it's very similar. So again, go as you will with all of these classes, but the Bullfrog setup that you're going to want is the GRU Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, KGB Skeletal Stock. Despite the fact that this was nerfed, this is still the best stock for the gun, I feel. 65 round ammo mag and Serpent Wrap. Again, that's for the ADS time. If you don't want to use that, swap that out for the Spetsnaz grip there. Get a bit of recoil control. That's going to help you hit those headshots more accurately. That's probably going to be a really good option as something else that you could use. Now, obviously, at the moment as well, we've got the MP5s. Now, both of the MP5s are very, very good. The Cold War one, decent and very up close. It's one of the best weapons you can use. The Modern Warfare MP5 is a more versatile build, so I've got a build for both of them, but the Modern Warfare one is probably going to be my favourite. It just has a lot more versatility to it, and you're going to be able to get those kills from a longer range. Hit fire on it is really, really good, doesn't sacrifice the movement speed for that, so it's going to be a really good weapon coming up through this. And yeah, this is going to be the build you're wanting for that. So the Monolithic Integral Suppressor on the barrel there, 5mm laser, F-Tac collapsible stock, Merc foregrip, 45 round mag, solid build, one we've seen tried and tested throughout the seasons of Warzone, and for Season 3, this bad boy is back after the update. Now, I've paired that with the sniper. We're going to leave that out for today's video, but again, I will talk about that in a future video. The Farah, I've still got a class on for it because it is still very, very good and has a high strafe speed, but nowhere near the one that it did have before, so I'm going to lean towards more of like the LC10, the MP5, you know, kind of guns like that, Bullfrog over that weapon. Now, obviously, again, as well, shotguns are not included in this video, but shotguns are very, very good, so it's definitely something you're going to want to check out. If you haven't done so already in Warzone and you like shotgunning, they are working well at the moment. I haven't included them here because they're not my personal favourite, so I don't really know the best classes for them, but they do shred at the moment, so worth checking out if you're a shotgun player. Now, the LC10, you're going to want Agency Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, Raider Stock, Airborne Elastic Wrap, and the Salvo 52 round fast mags. I would actually swap this out and just go for the Stanag 55 rounds, so just the standard, just because it doesn't reduce the ADS time. And if you want a little bit less mobility, so you're quite happy with just standing still or, you know, strafing around a little bit, but not over the top, swap the Raider Stock out for an underbarrel, get that Field Agent grip on so that you've got that more pinpoint accuracy, and that is going to help you, again, because this is kind of like your 15 meter plus is where this gun really overtakes the rest of them, and is going to be super, super good, so you're definitely going to want to try this one out. Now, again, like I said before, we do also now have the rise of the MP5 from Black Ops, and basically this one is really, really good for close range. It's going to absolutely shred through most other guns. It's going to be one of the fastest TTKs you can get, with obviously chest shots and headshots included. So you're going to want to run the Agency Suppressor, Tiger Team Spotlight, Raider Stock, Field Agent Grip, and the Stanag 50 round drum mag. It's going to be an excellent weapon. You're going to get a ton of kills up close, and again, if you're pairing it with something where you've got a bit more range like the AMAX, it's going to be a fantastic, very, very good weapon. Now, again, the AK-47 from Black Ops Cold War is another really, really good weapon. Exceedingly good. Just has a very high skill gap on because the recoil's pretty decent on it, and the accuracy on it's a little bit wobbly at times. It does have a slower rate of fire than things like the LC10, the MP5, the MAC-10, so you are going to get beat in some gunfights just purely out of that, but if you hit your shots, you are going to win every time. It's just got a lot more recoil, so it's a higher skill gap. Haven't included it here, but the video that I made a couple of weeks ago on when the first season first came out about that AK, that build still stands for close range, and it's still very, very good, so if you wanted to look at that one, you can also use that too. And then, obviously, we've got another Bullfrog class there just at the bottom, but these are going to be your best ones. You can still use things like the FFAR, so this thing is still really, really good. Just a lot more punishing on those close range engagements, slower ADS speed, slower movement speed, so you haven't got that get out of jail free card with the movement and strafe speed now, which is a shame because obviously a lot of us liked using it for that reason, but you are now focused on hitting your shots and making it more accurate. Agency Suppressor, Reinforced Heavy Barrel, Field Agent Grip, Salvo 50 round fast mags, and the Serpent Wrap is going to be the build you want for that one. That's still a really, really strong build, and maybe as like a sniper support or as an AMAX support gun, still very, very good. And the dual kind of AR meta still is a thing. You can still use it and it's really, really good, but the SMGs have had much more of a buff with the latest patch notes, so you're definitely going to want to try them out. Now, I can assume as well in the comments there'll probably be a fair few questions surrounding the PPSH. This gun has had a buff and it makes it a lot better than it was. Competes now at a level where you can actually use it, which is nice, but it's still nothing special. It's still nothing exceedingly good. Nothing that I wouldn't use the LC10, the MAC-10, the MP5, the Bullfrog. I would still rather use those weapons. So it's not quite as good as those because the accuracy is just too much. But it's entirely up to you if you do want to go ahead and try out the PPSH. It is decent now. You can use it. It's viable. So by all means do so. I would also recommend the MAC-10. The old class that we used to build with the MAC-10 is still really, really good. So we can go ahead and throw that back on. Now it's climbing up to be one of the better guns, particularly with the movement speed at the moment. It's a very, very fast weapon, so I would definitely recommend doing that one as well. If you are going to build a MAC-10, I'll go through the build for that quickly as well. So you can throw on here the MAC-10. Attachments wise, you're going to want the Agency Suppressor, Task Force Barrel. You'll probably want on the Raider Stock. Then either the Field Agent Grip, if you don't want the Raider Stock, if you're kind of happy with less mobility. Then you probably want to throw on the Fast Mags, or if you don't want the reduction of the ADS time there, obviously just throw on the 43 round drum mag there, but the fast mag works pretty well with this. I would then throw on the Serpent Wrap there for the ADS time, but again, if you're not as bothered about ADS time and you do want a bit of flinch resistance and things like that, I would go for the Airborne Elastic, but for me personally, Serpent Wrap is the way to go, and that build is going to see you do very, very well at the moment because obviously of the recent buffs. Now hopefully this video has helped you guys out work out what classes you should be using at the moment, a bit of close range combat. As I say, make sure you stay tuned to the channel because we are going to be doing a long range and mid to long range guide coming up in the next couple of days, covering kind of those guns once I've had a chance to try out the new Cold War snipers. Now they've had the buff as well, and yeah, it's going to be a really, really interesting season going forward now in Season 3 of Warzone, where quite a lot of stuff is viable, which is pretty nice. So I'll make sure I keep you guys updated on that. Hopefully this video has helped you all out. If it has, make sure you do drop a like down below, and if you are new to the channel, do drop that subscribe as I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, take care, and peace.